It's Sunday. It's the European Ham Radio Show. And as you can see over there, we got a nice new logo. And as you can see down there, we got a Discord server as well. So, this is finally a thing, the European Ham Radio Show, TEHRS. Welcome to all the viewers. Hope you feel as excited as we do for this. And let's just kick it off. How has your ham radio week been, guys? So let's start with you, Tobias, since you're on my side here.
Thank you, Morten. Not super exciting. Lots of chores around the house, but I managed to print a guy ring for the 7-meter spider pole and wire it up and test it in the garden. And I also got the video about guying the spider pole 10 meter out. Not the most, I should say, exciting topic, but this is what I was up to. So this is the video you got.
Yeah, and I actually learned something from that video, though, because I obviously guy my mast the wrong way. So I'm going to try your way the next time. I kind of wing it a little bit and tie some knots and don't really know what I'm doing. And at some points, it's up there. So I'm going to take some tips from you there.
Yeah, I just thought it's easier to know where to put your pegs in the ground if you can just, straighten out the ropes and have a mark there, and then you know that you will get a 45-degree angle. I don't know if 45 is the ideal angle, but at least it helps to, distribute it evenly around your pole.
Absolutely. And we just talked a little bit about, or we mentioned APRS as a little sub-subject for today's stream. We're not going to talk too much APRS, but a little bit. And LB5JJ, you've set up a script or some kind of software to get APRS messages almost all the way to our chat here, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I've been doing some Go programming. It's a programming language. And it should now be possible. If you want to send us a comment via APRS, you can send that to how do you pronounce this the abbreviation? TEHRS?
TEHRS.
Yeah. So send it to the call sign Tango Echo Hotel Romeo Sierra TEHRS, and it should show up at least in my window. Did you get it running, Morten?
No, I haven't got it running. I got too much other things going on here trying to produce this show, so I'm not going to add some kind of makeshift APRS chat messages come up. That's your responsibility here.
That's all right. I'll keep an eye on messages coming in over APRS, and I'll read them out loud if there's anything good and appropriate.
Yeah.
Great. Just copy them into the private chat so then Morten can also see it or something like that.
That's a good idea. I'll do that, and you can post them, Morten. So.
And I see that Nathan comments that Waltz is a true citizen of the world.
I'm wearing my Canadian Navy, but I actually work for I do work for the Canadian Navy. So I'm doing my part to keep a little bit of North America. I'm an American wearing a Canadian shirt. So we've got, two countries, the two best countries in North America. If there's any Mexicans watching, I'm sorry.
Can I just say one thing? Because I think last week we were too hard on the Italians. Most Italians I meet on the air are really, really nice people. So yeah, I just need to get that out there because I think we were a bit hard on them last week.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I'm the one that brought that up. But
I think we all participated in that. I mean, it's good to have it out. Italians, I really like them.
So let's just remember the granddaddy of all of us, Marconi, and the Italian connection there. So he's the radio guy. So the Italians are amazing when it comes to radio. They really are, and they know better than all of us too because they got big antennas and big amplifiers, and they break pileups better than we do.
Yeah, they do, and I've heard from another ham that's been to a ham fest in Italy that they say apparently they sell 10 kilowatt amplifiers just openly around there.
Yeah,
yep. The smaller ones. No, let's not start again. But
no, let's start. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's try
it's
to be a
funny
little bit.
in a way, how different countries deal differently with these things, right?
Absolutely. Let's try to be a little bit structured here, though. I could have asked you guys what's in your workbench, but that's a whole nother show than ours.
Right,
But
right.
Walt, how has your ham radio week been?
I had one of the coolest things that ever happened to me as a ham happen this week. So I was walking through the base that I'm working on, and this guy comes up to me and goes, Walt, Walt, Walt. And I gotta be honest with you, I didn't recognize him. I go, hey, how you doing? And in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe we've worked together or whatever. He goes, hey, just want to let you know, I'm studying for my ham radio license, and I'm a subscriber to your channel, and I love what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So I invited him over yesterday, and we got on the bands, and we made contacts on 15 and 20 meters to see, we worked Cyprus, we worked Italy, we worked Spain, France, and he was just so he was just like, this is so awesome. I'm like, so I kind of got him going, and he's an American. He's going to be here longer than me. I said, listen, get the test done. You can take it online, get your license while you're here. How many Americans operate in Europe the first time ever? You know what I mean? Like I said, get to the general level and do that. So that was, honestly, it was really cool. And then we sat down, I showed him WebSDR or whatever. He texted me this morning. He said, I was up all night on WebSDR listening to ham radio. I'm like, that's so cool. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was the highlight of my week. Other than that, the bands were horrible. So I made some contacts, but I didn't do a whole lot. I was pretty busy. So yeah, that was cool. That was my week. And it was, like I said, I've never been recognized for being a YouTuber anywhere in the world. And how funny is it that I'm walking through the base that I'm working on in Poland and someone recognizes me? So that was pretty cool. That was my week.
Absolutely. That's awesome,
cool.
though. And inspiring people to get their license, that's, at least for me, one of my reasons for doing this, for being on YouTube, to be able to get people through that period where you try to get your license, get licensed, and get on the air. We need more hams.
We do. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it. I think I probably had more fun than he did yesterday, knowing that someone sitting next to me, he came over here to the house, that someone sitting next to me had never actually sat in front of an HF transceiver and broke through a pile up and whatever. And it was really cool. It was something I'll always remember. I hope I get to do this many times again to get other people going. So.
Yeah, and I see that Bert actually managed to get a APRS message through here, so I put it on screen here.
This this is what APRS looks like when you see it in the raw. This is everything that went over the air here. That's the extent of my script. I can just copy everything that comes in over the air via the APRS EIS system. So this is raw APRS.
That's awesome. And I see, Walt, you brought one of your subs into the European Ham Radio Show. That's awesome.
Who bumped their microphone?
Yeah, that was the European Loch Ness Monster approving.
I gotta say, as a sound engineer in my day-to-day life, that is one sound you don't really want to hear.
Ooh.
Nessie's back at it again.
Okay, let's check with the two people down. Someday I'll master this pointing on camera thing, but the two guys down here. Kjetil, you've done a lot of radio this week, haven't you?
Yes, I've had some fun. Yesterday, one of the high points, I went over and met that guy over at his location at a beautiful park where he's done a kilo before, and went to a medieval fair. So that was fun. Bota in the middle of a medieval fair. And earlier this week, I managed to get a kilo myself. So that was fun. Insanely slow on the bands. So I think I operated for 3 hours. It's one of my longest portable operations ever. And that was 100 watts.
And I'm going to say congrats on the kilo. And I guess that means that one of us is going to be the third Norwegian to get his kilo award.
The
Yeah,
bronze
that-
medal. The bronze medal's coming, Morten.
Yeah.
and I'm getting quite close to my 2nd kilo in another park. So
No pressure. No pressure.
or no time, actually. That's my problem this coming week.
Yeah. But I have published another video, one with a lot of drone footage, having a lot of fun with that. So it's interesting trying to fly around, get some decent footage, doing it in a safe and legal manner, and still just getting some amazing scenery. So last week I've driven 2,000 or 3,000 kilometers or so through Norway, taking videos and doing a bit of radio in between, and worked a full work week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, your drone photos are amazing there, is yet. I mean, that is awesome footage, and it adds to the quality of your videos. Really, really good. Boyd or Bob, I don't know what we're gonna call you here, but I guess we'll call you Bob.
Let's do that.
Yeah. How about you? How's your ham radio week been?
It's fairly busy, I think. On Tuesday, we had the local radio club had a 10-meter net, and the Thursday I ran a 2-meter single sideband net, yeah, it must have been yesterday. I went up to 2 SOTA summits in Telemark. Yeah, I've forgotten. Kjetil probably remembers better than I what the name of them were. But you were completely right, Kjetil, about the uphill thing. You walk uphill. It flattens out, and you think, "Oh, nice!" And then the real uphill starts.
Yeah. There's a hill called, or the slope is called the Killer or Killer Slope or something like that. I saw LA3 November Golf Alpha in here as well. He knows Fjäringen, Lima Alpha Tango Mike 011, and you just think you're like safe, and now I'm at the top, and then it just gets worse.
The worst part of it, halfway up that really horrible part, I get overturned by 2 pensioners. That's no fun. That's no fun at all. They must have been 70, the 2 of them walking up there, and they passed me on the steepest part of the track. But I worked Jordan from there. There's a special event for a royal wedding apparently in Jordan, so I worked Jordan from there. That's first for me on sidebar. That was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we got Stu's in the house. He's with Team Walt.
Thanks, Stu.
But we're not our individual channels here. We're the European Ham Radio Show today. So I guess everyone's Team TEHRS.
That's right, TEHRS.
And since I asked all of you guys about your ham radio week, I've done a little bit of ham radio this week as well. I started the week with experimenting with a half square antenna, unfed half square antenna. I think I got the idea from your video, Walt, and then Tim at Golf 5 Tango Mike, and had some good results with that. Seems to have a lot of broadside gain, so I'm going to try that portable later on. I just tested it in my yard to see if that worked. And then I experimented a little bit about running FT8 remotely. Got that halfway to work. Got to fine tune that process a little bit, and I got to add some kind of kill mechanism if my radio should be stuck in transmit mode while I'm not at home. And then I went camping this weekend and did some radio from the campsite as well, and fought a lot of noise from the other campers and RVs around. So that's about my radio week.
Yeah, I know how that noise works. I have a bunch of windmills right here beside me where I'm at here in Poland, and I can watch the windmills go around and look at the waterfall of my SDR and see the zzz. I can see the blade going, and I'm like, what? At first I was like, what is this QRM? And I kept seeing this little, you hear just faintly zzz, zzz, zzz. And I looked out the window, and it's rhythmically perfect with the windmill. I'm like, oh, okay, there you go. That's what's doing it. But hey, I gotta live with it. So you guys, if you're subscribed to my channel and you see me like focusing in on the SDR, look for the little lines going across the insider here. This stuff you don't learn on the channel. You get it. You gotta be here with the European Ham Radio Show to get that to get that inside track
But-
there. But
Walt, do you think that is that noise coming from the windmill, or is that just the blades reflecting something that you're seeing?
that's a good question. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if it's the blade reflecting. I'm really close to a bunch of them. It's like a farm of them. There must be 10 of them, probably 200 meters out, right outside the shack. And it was driving me crazy. And I had the blind open on the window, and as I looked down at it and I caught outside, I saw it was just like a perfect rhythm of the windmill and the QRM on the SDR. I'm like, aha, I found you. You know what I mean? There it is.
We have a lot of them over here in Western Norway, and some people have lost the TV signals, and they have the same issue: intermittent loss. Very intermittent.
It's worse for me on 20 meters. I can go from 20 to 17 and see it fade. 15, barely see it. 12 and 10, it's gone. It's kind of like, for some reason, it's like right between 15 and 20 meters that I've got that zoop, zoop, zoop. And 40, it's coming back down again. You know, but for the band I operate on the most would be the one band that it's the worst on. You know what I mean? The 20-meter band. So, I don't know about you guys, but right now the 20-meter band is about the best game in town here in Europe. You know what I mean? I've been watching the maximum usable frequency here, and I don't think it's gotten here in north of Poland above 21 megahertz in the last month. Yeah,
it's been slow. William asked if any of us tried to work Rockall Island this week, and I did not. I actually don't really look too much into the D expeditions.
I didn't either, but I have to say I really have a huge respect for the people doing that. If you've seen that rock, if you've seen the swells, that's just amazing. They literally risk their lives to do that expedition.
Yeah, because that's just basically a rock outside Scotland, isn't it?
It's a very, very steep rock. It's like it's just straight out of the ocean.
Yep. I'm gonna put a picture up here pretty soon. So, and while I look, I see that Jeff comments that blades do strange things to RF, and that you can have a prop modulation on an aircraft.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, I'm experiencing it right now, so it's like, and it's never going away as long as I'm where I'm at right now. And the funny thing is, they're new. So like I've been coming here a year and a half now. A year ago when I first came here, I never had any problem, and now it's all the time.
Yes.
See, I'm just gonna make the right window bigger here. That's the side of the Rockall D expedition.
Oh, that's
It's definitely a rock.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. Let's see here. It's pretty far west of the UK here.
Yeah.
That is the middle of the Atlantic. Well, not exactly the middle, but it's really in the Atlantic Ocean, and just this rock sticking out.
Yeah. And that's just a name from the weather forecast from when growing up hearing the weather forecast for fishermen on the radio. Rockall was always mentioned there.
We need to buy it. You know, have you guys watched the Ham Radio Clubhouse? How they want to start Sealand? You know what I mean? Have their own island. I don't know if you guys. We could start a GoFundMe and call that TEHRS Island. You know what I mean? Like that. Well,
but I think there's not a good tradition of Americans trying to buy, let's say, islands in the Atlantic, is there? Such as Greenland. Is there?
Boy, I'm like, I was like a fish. The hook was right there with you, Morton. I bit it. You know what I mean? You got really in on that one. That's funny.
But I have to say that they lost a really big piece of land that the Americans bought. That was a good deal, and that is, of course, Alaska. I think they made a killing on that deal. So it's not always that bad.
I have to say that was a good investment.
Yeah,
and I see that Nathan asked if we can operate aeronautical mobile, and as far as I know, at least in Norway, you can, if you have your ham radio license and some way of operating your radio in a plane,
and the permission of the captain on that plane. I think that's the most important bit.
Yeah,
that's kind of similar in the States, the same way, same rule.
I found the old rules for when you were supposed to operate portable, for example, in Norway, after a long discussion with the /P. And apparently, according to the older rules, which are of course not valid after 86, you're not supposed to use /portable unless you're carrying the equipment, all of the equipment, while you're talking. So in the good old days here, at least up to the last few years, most portable people used /portable.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
I had to read up on that when I did my POTA activation because I thought, hey, what should I do? Am I mobile? Am I portable? What's going on? And then, I read up on it, and apparently it's no longer mandatory to use. So I thought, okay, let's skip that because it's anyway going to the POTA app.
Yeah.
Don't use the
Yeah.
suffix. It's just getting confusing.
I've stopped using that because it's so hard to get confirmation on it because technically it's a different call sign though. So
Right. I mean, I have portable set up in Logbook of the World and in in EQSL, but it's a hassle, right? So
yeah.
just
I don't, when I log people and they go /portable, I just log them to the regular page.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't add that. It's you're right, Morten. It's
Yeah.
like a new call sign. I don't know why anyone
Yeah.
would even start. I have it hard enough. I have 4 different call signs in my. I log with QRZ. I got 4 different ones. I don't need a 5th, 6th, 7th with /portable behind it.
Yeah. And let's see here. William comments that Rockall is Scottish and part of the North Sea Defence. And I don't really see how that can be part of the North Sea Defence. It's not in the North Sea, but I guess that's for a geography show and not for.
I think that's more for a military show how that can be used as to defend the North Sea than anything. I'd like to inject on the question of call sign suffixes. I guess we call them.
Yeah.
We have a few pilots in our local club, and they've used the suffix /AM or aeronautical mobile when they're flying. Yeah.
They don't have to, but they can.
No, yeah, they and I think they do that because, well, it's a fun thing to work someone in an airplane.
Exactly, and I see that Nathan says portable, maritime, mobile, etc. is interesting to know, and absolutely. I don't use it portable. If I was at some point operating aeronautical mobile, I would use it for sure. And probably on a boat as well. I actually used maritime mobile on a ferry once on 2 meters on a repeater. Just to I've done it.
Me too. The Horten Moss ferry.
Yeah, exactly that ferry.
Me too.
I done that with HF from a ferry. They looked really strange at me, but still. There is one limitation with aeronautical mobile in Norway. Previously you could actually operate from a drone. Or anything unmanned and use APRS, for example. And now that is not permitted anymore. After some people apparently used a bit too much power on those bands, so it was banned for us.
This is only in Norway, is it? Because balloonists do that still around the world, don't they?
Yeah, so it would be interesting to know what happens with an international balloon, but still.
But actually, any kind of unmanned operation in Norway needs a special permit. I've checked that when I'm working on a digipeater. I'm no further on with the project, but I can't run that unmanned until I got the paperwork in order to be able to operate it unmanned. So I got to be in the shack looking at the digipeater until I get the right paperwork done.
Yeah, but then you get a different Lima Delta call sign for it, right?
I think it's Lima Delta call sign when it's unmanned. Not really too sure there yet.
I think Lima Delta is for digital. We have a Lima Delta call sign for a digital 2-meter repeater as well for fusion. Yeah.
And then digipeater is digital by nature. So
yeah.
And there was a comment about parachute here. You can operate parachute mobile. Carlos, and I don't remember his call sign now, but his YouTube channel is Life at Terminal Velocity, I think. He operates parachute mobile, and that's awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So, that's
actually,
insane. Even without the radio, I have to inject. Yeah.
yeah, and actually, I've seen videos with this equipment, and it's not just an HT though. It's he operates in a 705 on HF with unfed half wave doing parachute mobile.
Does he do FT8 in parachute mobile?
I think he's done that as well. KD9 OLN is his call sign, Carlos. So that's awesome.
It's so fun with the people doing strange things in this hobby, just pushing the limits to what you can do. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I see that Henning asks how many QSOs can you do in one jump. I guess you got to watch Carlos's videos to see that. And Dave here, he's worked him on 2 meters parachute mobile at Dayton, and I guess a lot of people worked Carlos at Dayton.
Yeah.
yeah, there are some people doing caves on the air as well, but I think they only operate like they have the equipment inside and cables outside for antennas.
Yeah, it would be kind of hard to have your antennas inside. But speaking about
You're muted,
antennas,
Tobias.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just realizing you have a very old background image of a German globe. You know, I see Frankreich and I see DDR, which is not a thing anymore. So maybe we want to update that for the next show. But,
well, when you look at license-free stock photos, you don't really have a lot to pick from if you want the higher quality photos. But I'll update the map for the next show.
yeah, not that we are upsetting anybody.
It's got Yugoslavia as well, so we're all set.
Yeah,
very good.
It probably also has CCCP. So I remember when I went to school, like in high school, where my school couldn't afford buying books to half the class, so they bought half a class set with new books with Russia, and the other half had Soviet Union.
When my daughter started school in 2014, I think it was, there was still maps there with the Soviet Union on the maps in Yugoslavia.
Yeah, I guess I'm lucky because when I went to school, there was only the Soviet Union. There was no Russia.
Yeah,
I'm guessing maybe we're the same age about Walt. So probably you as well when you went to school. There was no Russia. It was just the Soviet.
When I got married, it was still the Soviet Union. That's how old I am.
All right. Yeah.
So
sounds right.
Yeah. Let's see here. I had a question for Walt. I kind of got sidetracked a little bit, so I'm going to try to get back on track here. But you talked about perhaps buying a new radio, Walt, didn't you?
Yeah, we discussed that. I'm curious what people think of this. So, you know me, I'm a 20-watt guy, and I like 20 watts. I've really been eyeballing the Q900 because it's got an internal battery. It's a lot more than just an HF radio. I've been, looking at all the features and everything that goes along with it. But then, somewhere near the same price, maybe a little bit more close to it or whatever, it's the FT891. It's the radio I've kind of always wanted. So I'm sitting here trying to decide, will it be the Q900 or will it be the FT891? That's, that Q900 is sexy. I tell you, that's a sexy beast right there.
It's a radio I kind of want because it's not like any other radio.
Yeah. And what's so cool about it, I've been watching videos on it. I mean, you can plug a keyboard on that thing and operate CW. Yeah. It's got everything in it. It'll interpret and send CW from a keyboard, which is cool. I mean, that's not why I'm buying it. But then on top of that, you've got all the VHF and UHF bands in there as well. Plus, there's modules you can add for GPS and everything. It's just got it covers everything, and it's Bluetooth like my FX4CR is. So as soon as I, get off my cheap butt and get my Android device, I can Bluetooth over to it, and and operate digital modes with it as well. So that's question one. Should I get the Q900 for all those wonderful things? Now, the Q900 with the internal battery only operates at 10 watts. And I'll take it. 10 watts for me on the beach. It's like I put a wire by the, ground plane by the salt water. It's like a 100-watt radio. But for me now, if I get the FT891 and I start operating on the beach with that, I'm blasting.
You're Italian QRP.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be like,
but
I'm gonna change my call sign to India Kilo for Ocean Gulf Ocean. But yeah, so I'm honestly I'm gonna probably buy a radio end of June, early July. Got a little fun money put aside for it or whatever. So I'm trying to decide Q900 or 891. Now, Stu said, I like what Stu said too. 891 is like an old school analog radio. The other problem with the 891 is I have a 20 amp hour battery. It's going to take massive battery which is more weight for me to go over the sand dune and down to the beach. No internal tuner, which the Q900 has a tuner. So
yeah, and the Q900 is also 2 meters 70 centimeters.
Right, that's cool.
And optionally DMR as well.
Yeah.
But I actually don't know. Driver Films Shortwave says he would get a Q900. And the only reason he'd get one is because it does 4 meters sideband. And
right. Which I can't do. I cannot do.
No, exactly. Yeah. So that's not an argument for you.
I got up to address one of your concerns, Walt. I have that radio, the 891. I have many other radios, but I don't touch them. I don't even care about them for portable use. That is a fantastic radio. And you're right, it doesn't have a waterfall. You don't need it. And you're right, it doesn't have a tuner. You don't want the tuner in the radio. You want the tuner at the base of the antenna. If you here we go. We can start a whole. No. You can have it. You can have a tuner in the radio, but the best place to put a tuner is at the base of the antenna. I think we all agree on that. Yeah. But portable size. This battery is what I bring. It weighs
20 amp hour.
No, this is a 12 amp hour battery. I've never been close to emptying this, and I've sat for at least 3 hours operating.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know because I have a 20 amp hour like before.
There's about that size. Yeah. There's no way you're gonna empty a 20 amp hour battery in one sitting. There's just no way on that radio. Morten, we've operated that radio together. You have to agree. It's very, very, very nice.
It is a very, very, very nice radio. For me, it's just a tad bit expensive for what it is. But it's a Yaesu. It's quality. It's a durable radio, and it's probably the smallest 100-watt transceiver you can get. And Smoking Apes just comment that he's in here just in time for the tuner drama.
He left out the best part. He should have said just in time for the tuner drama, son.
Yeah. Someone's got to put on their explaining glasses here.
Explaining. I was explaining. I will tell you this. I have the Alinco DX70, which is almost everything the 891 is. It really is. I mean, it's 100 watts. It's kind of the similar size or whatever. So I would probably be gaining more, especially for the way I operate portable. I'd be gaining more with a Q900. I just want, I just kind of want that 100 watts, you know what I mean? So I'm on the fence of which one. I am going to purchase one of those two radios in the next 20 days. So I got to decide. Yeah, I am. I'm curious what people think. Not Q900 or FT891s. That's.
I got some opinions there. I like the quirky radios.
I do too.
I absolutely do. And but there's something about the Q900, and the Q900 is actually available in a lot of different versions. I know it's available as the Alens HD2, I think, HD1 or HD2 something.
Radiotity in the States that sell the Zygoos there, they have it as the Radiotity QR20, I think, or something like that. And
Yeah, and what worries me a little bit about that, are all those radios the same radio? Are they compatible software wise, or are there just some small different things that make the ecosystem around them hard to navigate?
Right.
That is my concern on those radios. If you get an 891, you get a rock solid Japanese 100-watt radio.
Right.
I saw, I think it was TechMind's video that he talked about the unit he showed was a version 4 hardware, I think. So apparently it's evolving.
Yeah, I actually grabbed the link. I grabbed the link off of that video, Bob. That's probably, if I buy one, I'm going to, because I've been burned buying Chinese like that before. And I saw that same video, Bob. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll need to get this off my chest for Walt's sake as well, because I think that the Acer is the most fantastic radio ever. But you've said before that what you like to do is chasing. You like to look at a band, scan up and down, find an interesting station, and then try and get through.
Right.
So for you, having a waterfall is a lot more important than it is for me. I will set up at a park. I'll find an available frequency. I'll call CQ for 3 hours. Waterfall, it means nothing for me. But if that's a really important bit, then I can see the point of getting a radio with a proper waterfall on it, and you really don't get that on the 897. So other than that, the most fantastic radio ever.
Very good point.
I got the it's the Retivis website here, the HS2 it's called, and you can see all the options here though. You can get it with GPS compass, GPS DMR, in every kind of configuration, even LoRa. So, but there's something in me that says spending that much money on that kind of radio is.
I'm not spending.
I'm
not spending $1,000 US. I can guarantee you that. I could probably find that radio and the FT891 for $1,000 where I'm going.
Yeah. No matter how much I like the quirky little radios, I'd go with the I'd go with the 891. And Smoking Ape asks if it comes in a GMRS. And we're a European show, Ape, so no GMRS here. And sorry, you can't bring your GMRS license to Europe, so that wouldn't work.
I'm bringing Ape to Poland. He's going to come over here with 2 cases of light beer, and we're going to chill out and operate here in Poland, son. So
let us know. We'll come down there. It's just a ferry ride away from Norway. We'll come down and listen.
They got great pork chop sandwiches here. I had one today.
Yeah, it's a short flight from here as well. We can bring some Norwegian KDR radios with us.
Yeah.
And Stu is just saying he just takes his IC 7300. And I think he has a point there. If you want the cheapest 100-watt radio with waterfall, which is not some no-name unknown entity, probably it's the 7300, right?
Yeah, exactly. I actually got a question from a guy I've been helping through his ham license now for a while. He asked about he's got an old Yaesu HF rig and wants something new. And I got a tendency to recommend the 7300 because I spent 2 lower quality rigs to realize that I should have bought the 7300 straight away.
Yeah, I grew up with a 7700 at the Radio Club, so a few thousand QSOs on that, and I really love that one. So going into menus and stuff was really hard when I started going portable. But I did actually look into the FT891 myself when I started as operator. So it was between that and the TS480 SAT, which is the one I ended up with, which of course is a horrible radio for SOTA.
But that's a good point. Every radio I own, you say you like quirky radios. I don't buy them because they're quirky. I have 2 Zygas. I have the X5105 because battery, easy to carry, small, portable. I have the G90, which everybody knows I'm the godfather of the G90 mafia. I have micro SDX or USDX, call it what you want to. I have a true SDX. I have an RS 918. I have all these little radios, and I bought them all for the reason is, a little bit different here while I'm in Europe because I'm kind of what I call urban portable and stationary. But I operate more on the beach when I'm in the States or down. You guys know where I live at, right by the water. I enjoy operating. I go down there for an hour or two in the afternoon after getting off work, and I enjoy doing that because I've got a free saltwater amplifier right beside me. I just like, boom, I'm there, and I do that. And that's one of the things that right now the Q900 is holding over the 891 for me. The fact that the built-in battery, whatever. But the other thing about it is it's like the only quirky radio I don't own. You know what I mean? I might as well fit. What do you call them? Like finish off the cycle here and own them all. So.
I almost bought 891 when I came back into ham radio. So I was building or waiting for this to show up, the FT8 phaser.
You got that one. I've been looking at
exactly.
those.
So this was my entry back into ham radio, and while I was waiting for this kit to show up, I got impatient and was starting browsing on eBay. And I hit a few bits on 891, but I didn't get it in the end. So I almost had one.
And it looks like we're into fanboy territory now. Henning says that he loves his KX3, so
I would love one too if someone wants to finance that thing for me. I got a car that costs less than a KX3. I mean, my God. I mean, listen, everybody goes, and I'm glad he said that because I get a lot of American hate from Americans, like you need to quit buying Chinese, son. That ain't, it's like you're not helping the situation or whatever, And I'm like, well, you know what? When Elecraft or whoever starts making one that I can actually afford and I don't have to knock me down forever.
After your lottery win, you'll go with KX4, right?
I'm sure. I know I'm not saying anything bad about the actual radio themselves. And I understand what manufacturing costs in the United States, but you know what? As a practical ham, I just can't afford it. I mean, like we were talking, you guys have probably all seen the memes. Like, I'm not rich, I'm just irresponsible. So I can't be that irresponsible. So
I think what you're saying here is that if Elecraft is listening and were to send you such a radio, you would give them a lot of good advertising.
Hey, you know what? I pride my channel on not being a buy this. Here's I'm promoting whatever. I will wear an Elecraft T-shirt and hold the radio up and tell everybody in the world you need this radio. They will send me one.
There's a comment here for you, Kjetil, about the 480.
Yeah, and I had the same issue. I haven't gotten it to 100 watt in ages, and then I remade the connectors, and then suddenly it went up to 100 watts. So there were some bad connectors in there. But talking about fun things for the 480, I got this one, a digital modem, and it has a PS2 connector on the side. And this one is our RTTY modem for the 480.
Cool.
On the LCD screen. I am planning to make a video on this. I just need somebody else on RTTY.
Just,
when I hook up my C64, I can do RTTY with you, Kjetil.
Yeah, that's good. So I actually done a contest on this one, and it's horrible. But still, it's fun.
I think there's a support for RIDI in Ham Radio Deluxe, isn't it?
Yes,
there is. There's supposed.
Yeah, you can also use FLDG, so that's not the problem.
Yeah, true. I'll tell you something I'd like to try. I'll do that first. Yeah, Hellschreiber. We should do a show with Hellschreiber.
I've done a show on Hellschreiber. It's a fantastic mode.
Yeah.
I did about a year ago. I did a series called Digimode Monday, where I live streamed every Digimode I could come over every Monday, and there are a lot of similar modes out there. But then there are the really charming ones, such as Hellschreiber.
Hellschreiber sounds like a Norwegian metal band to me.
I could easily be. Morten, you need to find a picture to show what we're talking about in case not everyone's seen it.
I'm probably not the right guy to explain Hellschreiber since we got a German here, though. It's made by it was invented by Rudolf Hell, and that's why it's called Hellschreiber.
Probably not even saying it right. I'm guessing, Tobias.
We've got
no idea how you pronounce it.
Here in Poland, there's a peninsula that goes over like where Gdansk is at. It's out into the Baltic. And the town at the end of the peninsula is called Hell. I was going to do a video called "I'm on the road to hell." You know what I mean? And do like portable there. So it's like
maybe hell like bright in German, right?
There is a place in Norway called Hell as well. So.
I did a sound activation in Hell a few years back. So
Hell, Poland?
No, Hell, Norway. So it says "Welcome to Hell."
Okay. Welcome to Hell.
And the thing is, though, Hellschreiber is it writes everything on a little bit on a skew here, and that's to correct for potential errors. Everything is written twice here on a piece of paper.
The reason for that, I can explain the reason for that. If you're not completely synchronized on frequencies on the sender and the receiver, when you duplicate everything, you can still read everything, even though the frequencies slide. I suppose. Yeah. That's a really smart system.
And it's kind of got its. I mean, the most popular period for Hellschreiber was in the 1930s and 1940s. It's an old mode, but I know the people that collect old military radios, they're really into Hellschreiber, a lot of them.
Morton, I don't know if you've seen my shack at home. I've done a couple of videos. I've got an old U.S. Navy World War II military radio in my shack that's pretty cool. And when I get back and I do videos there, I'll do it. I just got it not too long ago, and it took me and my son both to get it up. It's so heavy. It's encased with lead, so it's a receiver. But back then they were thinking the U.S. Navy, they didn't want the oscillator, anything going on inside, to be picked up. This is the early stages of radar, and what was going on. And so this thing weighs it's about this big, but it's like you're carrying a stove up the stairs. I live on the third floor. Thing's pretty heavy, but and it's U.S. military built too. I love old military radios. I really do.
And we could try to do Hellschreiber actually at one point. There's support for it in both FLDG and Ham Radio Deluxe. So and it's pretty easy, and everything comes out on this emulated paper strip. But speaking about old military radios, I'm a listener to Ham Radio Workbench, and they talked about the old military radio teletypes on a show a couple of weeks back, and that also sounds fascinating with all the printers going on when they receive.
Right.
But I think reading things on a screen is at least more practical. And there's a message for you from the APRS.
Blow out your O-ring. That's right. I'll blow up my O-ring for sure. Sure.
So, but back to your radio though, Walt. Are you any wiser?
Anyway, no, not. I'm not any wiser at all. I don't think so. I'm just, as we say in America, like Budweiser. I'm not that much wiser. So,
are you in a club back home, Walt?
I'm in two clubs. I'm in the USS Wisconsin club, and I missed it this weekend. This was Museum Ships on the Air weekend, and I missed that. It's a battleship, World War II battleship that we have there in the harbor where I live at. And I'm in also in Chesapeake Amateur, the Chesapeake, Virginia Amateur Radio Club there, CARS. Yeah, the CARS Club, I don't know if anybody from my club's watching, but it is amazing. It's a great club there in Chesapeake, Virginia. Great. I was in another club, and I just met guys from CARS and saw how much they did, and they're a wonderful club, both of them.
But you should try see if someone in your club has this Yaesu radio. Go with them on an activation. Just get a feel for it. It'll give you an idea whether you really hate not having a waterfall or not, because it gives you a lot of extras, but you lose that waterfall. So experience it before you shell out the money, I think.
Yeah, I may do that. I may do that. Although the money may burn a hole in my pocket before I get a chance to do that. I am on the fence. The Q900 or the FT891. I've just got to figure out which one I'm going to get. And there you go, Tim. Tim's got an FT891.
He does. He does.
I see what he does with his. He really does.
And I know you're feeling there, Walt. You really want a Q900, but for all practical purposes, your heart wants a Q900. Your mind wants an 891.
That's exactly where I'm at. That's exactly where I'm at.
I know the feeling.
I've got the Elenco DX70, which does everything in a sense that the 891 does, which to me is just the 100 watts. You know what I mean? Which is pretty cool. I mean, everyone thinks I'm just a low power QRP guys, but deep inside, I want a big amplifier and sit on the beach and break through every pile up. So whatever, you know what I mean? That's kind of I got to figure it out which one I'm going to get, the Q900 or the 891. We'll see.
You should take a play with the menus as well, considering it's Yaesu. Bit anti-fanboy here.
I mean, Yaesu menus are hard. I had a FTDX 1200, which was for all purposes a fantastic radio, but
right.
Just scrolling through those 378 menu items every time you wanted to change some basic setting, that got old really, really fast.
You get used to it. You only change about 5 settings. You get used to it. That's all I can say. I really hated it at first. You get used to it.
Yeah. All right, let's take a vote. Let's take a vote. All right. So I won't count. Just between the 4 of you, it'll probably end up 50-50. Morton, which one should I buy? Q900 or FT891?
The 891.
Okay. Wes, what do you think?
I would also go with the 891. If it
looks
has
like
the same DSP audio features as the FTDX 3000, you will really love it.
It does.
Yeah, I mean the filtering and the DSP on the AC radios, that's amazing.
Yeah, the menus suck, but the audio quality and the filters, they're really top notch. That's my 2 cents.
Okay.
I'd also go with 891 if it was between those. Unless I wanted a radio just for the fun of it and not as my primary radio.
All right. All right, Bob, you're the last one.
Yeah, I own that radio. I love that radio. It's the only one I use. So go for it. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm buying the Q900.
And
I was waiting for that.
No.
But the Q900 would make for better YouTube content, though, Walt.
Exactly. You can do a review and a firmware update video and a modification video and
I'm just annoyed that this thing doesn't work video. And
maybe that's unfair. I don't know. Until today, I've never heard about it, to tell you the truth.
I've never used them. I saw one at a Hamfest last year, and they look really nice and they feel solid and really well built.
Yeah. I
got this love affair for like low power quirky radios, so that's hard to beat. I'm probably going to get an 891. I was just joking on that. I don't know. It's like I keep bringing up the Elenco that I have, but it's got like, it's old and it's got its issues. The face panel kind of rattles and I lose people and things like that. The mic and stuff. So I want that radio in a nicer version and a brand new one. Say it like, I don't know.
And here's
what is the one radio called?
Another discussion from Tim here. Go ahead first, Tobias.
Yeah, the Lab 599 radio, that also looks very interesting to me. It looks built like a brick. You can take it everywhere. It probably will never break.
It's still QRP, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's still QRP, and there is one issue there that I don't know if we should mention this on a ham radio.
I know where you're going with that too, and that's the reason why I don't own that radio.
It's where it's made. Let's just stop there. And for me, that's a big no.
That's a no buy. That's a no buy for me. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's
a very nice machine, but maybe not the time.
Exactly. And I see that you sent me a private message here, Tobias, about the Discord link. I can post it in the chat, but it's down in the video description.
I was just wondering if it's working because I saw nobody popping up there. So
I'm the only one that's allowed to post links in the chat. And,
the Discord link, if that is working for somebody on the stream, but maybe nobody wants to join. That's also fine.
Yeah,
you know what?
I was thinking about we should bring this up. Actually, I'm in Discord now, and there are people here on the Discord server now.
They weren't there before.
Yeah,
they probably clicked the wrong button.
How can you tell? How can you tell?
You can see the offline on the right side there. You can see who's online and offline and everything. And you actually
have to press the member list. The people.
Yeah, and we're to the point in my small window where I gotta scroll down. So something is happening to our Discord. And let's say Tim is wondering, should he sell his 7300 and get an FT710?
Yeah, I'm chiming in as well. I don't own the one, and I don't own the other. For me, I'd get the 710. I'm on
a mission to get Tim to buy a G90. Tim needs a G90.
Tim would do amazing things with a G90.
He would.
Yes.
That radio is made for Tim. He doesn't realize it yet, but he would go out portable. He would go out portable on the dash of that wonderful car of his and hook up that G90, and he would be like, I should have listened to Walt a year ago. This is the radio. Tim, I'm telling you, Tim. You get a G90, I'll get the FT891. Then we'll both have the same two radios, and we'll
I see that digital analog ham, Chris, isn't it? I think his name is Chris. Correct me if I'm wrong there. The 710 is a better receiver, but then it's the Yaesu interface again. I haven't tried the 710. I've tried the FTDX10 and the FTDX100, and those are fantastic radios. As long as you can live with the menu system. Then again, I love my 7300, which is right beside me here, and I'm going to keep that until it just won't work anymore, I think. Basically, but I want to rewind just a little bit, Bob. You said that you got a lot of radios, but you just use the 891.
Yeah.
Your 857. No use for that?
I use it on a weekly 2 meter net on a sideband, so I bring it down. But that's the reason I have it. If I want to go on an expedition and need the 2 meter 70 sems in addition to HF, I will bring it. That's the reason I got it. I think it's a nice radio. It's nowhere near as nice as the 891. But it's a nice radio. It's an exact same form factor, and it's got that old school Yaesu radio look to it. So just looking at that radio makes me happy. I have it standing. I can look right over the top of my screen. And I can see it there. Yeah.
Because I was thinking they're pretty much similar radios though, in a lot of ways. But it seems like you have a purpose for both radios then. That was my question here, but you kind of got ahead of me.
I do. The similarities, they're mostly on the outside, I think. The 891 is really a much more modern radio. If you're familiar with the 991A, the 891, it's the same radio, sans the VHF UHF in a really small package. And of course with no waterfall display. It's got all the niceness of the 991 in that extremely little portable rugged box. So yeah.
Sounds like a Q900 to me, because Q900
I've never used that radio, and I'm sure I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun with it.
You guys will know. I'll probably buy the 891.
But then again, Walt, you got that Saigu amplifier, don't you?
I do. I have the
so you got 100 watt option should you need one.
Yeah.
But then again, it doesn't have that new radio smell.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I'll be honest with you, I've gone portable with that a couple times. That Zygu amplifier is a is like a center block, man. It's a lot of weight. Carrying that thing plus a rig, plus the spaghetti wires. The Zygu needs to get that right. You know, the plugging into the amp or whatever is just like a pain in the butt with the what is it, CN19 adapter or whatever, all that stuff. It's not easy, and that's the beauty of an 891. You know, it's dare I say it, it's a CB radio size. You know what I mean? And all I got to do is look into the battery, and there you go.
Tim says he'd love an 818, but you need the Soda Beam speech processor for SSB. Yeah, and you would need a CW filter. You would need some add-ons, and by the time you've bought all the add-ons to make an 817, 818 a modern radio, you might just as well buy the 891.
And I have the Soda Beams. Just after, if he's talking about the Wolfwave Soda Beams filter, it's not the same as the built-in thing. It's not an MF filtering. It's audio frequency filtering. It's not the same thing at all, actually. It's nice. It's nowhere near the thing.
This is the speech compressor that you add between the microphone and the radio.
Oh, all right.
That's what it's talking about. But then again, there are more add-ons for the 817, 818 range that you could probably find anywhere. And it's a great little radio. I had one, but by the time you've done all the modifications to make it a modern radio, you might as well buy a modern rig instead.
Right.
Yeah,
all right. So you know, we're sitting here debating it, but at the end of the day, buying a radio, it's like buying a car. You know, some people are. I'm going to Americanize this. Some people drive Chevrolet. Some people drive Ford. You know, here in Europe, some people drive BMW. Some people drive Audi. You know what I mean, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's that simple. You know, and some people drive Skodas here, but.
I mentioned it. I noticed that you mainly just had German cars, though, and I'm for the sake of discussion, I'm going to call Skoda a German car since it's basically
by Volkswagen. Yeah. It's a fine Czech automobile, or we should say Czechoslovakian at the time. When it first...
Skodas are great, though. If you, that's one place, though. If you need an 817, 818 on the beach.
Yeah, there's a video with my G90 on the beach. I'm going back to G90, Tim. I'm zooming in on the camera on the front of it, and I must have had 10 comments on like, "Oh my God, you destroyed that radio," because it looks like it just blasted the whole front of it. It was a windy day. It was the same day. I was on the beach in the Outer Banks, North Carolina, with it, and people were like, and I would just comment back from, "I paid $300 for it, dude. It's okay. It'll be all right." You know what I mean? It's like.
See, that was the comment I was going to put up there. Stu bought a second-hand 891 for 425 pounds.
That is a bargain.
That is the thing to do, because you can find these deals, and these radios, they're rugged. So unless you buy it off a complete idiot, he's not going to have ruined it. That's the way to do it. I got mine used, in fact.
For 425 quid, yeah, that'd work.
Yeah. So I guess it's the Q900 for you then, Walt. Just to sum everything up.
I will change my mind 3 times before I buy it. I know.
I know the feeling.
And then you stumble over one more review and you change it again.
Yeah. One thing about the Q900 for coming into today's topic 1 hour into the show is that it apparently doesn't do or have full functionality with APRS. It does have some, but not all of it.
Right.
So that would be really fun to see.
Is APRS on HF a thing?
That was actually one thing I was gonna ask you about, Shetter, because I had a QSO on DMR with Bert Klaas before the show, and he said that he was gonna get APRS over HF to work, and you talked a little bit about APRS over HF last week, and I saw that the OHSTN also did something, had a blog post or something about APRS over HF. Has anyone tried that?
Yeah. I
Does it-
followed Julian's guide. Yeah, I've done it many times. I've done it
Yeah.
on different ways as well. You can do it via WinLink, at least the positioning, and you can do it over a JS8 call. So,
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And in
I'm
theory,
looking
you
at
could
the
also
chat
do-
here.
Yeah, and in theory, you could also do it on the 10 meters, since you can run wide there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the comment for this comment.
Good one. I think we should all pitch in and get Tim a G90. That would be fun. Yeah.
Perhaps you could trade your G90 with Tim, though, Walt.
I'm not getting rid of my G90. No way.
No, I'm just
My baby.
keeping mine as a
From
backup
your
radio.
dead fingers, or no?
Right.
Actually, what I was going to say, though, when about the 891, when I decided to get rid of my 817 about a week before Yaesu discontinued it, and their value kind of increased a little bit, I wasn't sure it was the X6100 or the 891, and I had a hard time deciding. But I went for the X6100 because of the easy way to do digimodes and the waterfall.
Right.
Still
I
not
always
sure if I
wanted
made
that radio. I always wanted that radio, and I've told you this before, Morton.
Yeah.
I don't know why with an internal battery, a 10-watt radio, why you can't go portable with it and not work 10 watts. It's 5 watts with that internal battery when you're portable, and that is to me the biggest. I'm a designer, you know what I mean? That's the biggest design flaw I've ever seen. Someone had to be thinking, how come, if I can get 20 watts out of that FX4CR, somebody can make that battery in an X6100 work to get 10 watts out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it can, though. If you use the R1 CBU firmware, you can do 10 watts on the internal battery.
Void everything you've ever done to it and brick it.
No, actually, you don't, because you don't install anything. You just run it from an SD card. So once you remove the SD card, you're back to the stock firmware.
But I have to say that shortcoming on the 817 is the same thing. 817 original internal battery, 2.5 watts. External power, 5 watts. So I'm guessing they just tried to copy everything that Yaesu did, and they managed that as well. You lose half your power when you're internal battery.
ICOM does that with the 705 as well, though. 5 watts on the internal battery, 10
true,
with the
true.
external battery.
So ICOM as well.
And we joke around, though. If I do get the 891, the one thing it'll do for me, when I go out on the beach and set my antenna up on the beach or whatever, I'll actually be able to call CQ instead of Hunt. You know what I mean? It will give me the oomph to because with low power, and you guys know, you calling CQ is, like spitting in the wind. It's worthless. You know what I mean?
That's why you spot yourself on POTA, to get back to last week's show.
I run 100 watts. I still spot myself on POTA and SOTA.
And Tobias, you did your first POTA this week, didn't you?
No, that was last week. This week I tried it with a magnetic loop, and I think you have a video about magnetic loops out.
I do.
And I was as successful as you were, It was it Thursday or Friday? It was very, very bad band conditions, so I would not completely blame it on the magnetic loop. But I got 3 contacts from that park that I've had activated the week before. Had a nice chat with some guy with his kid who dropped by because it was in a parking lot in the forest road that I've shown you earlier. So what I'm doing here and, explaining it POTA to him, so that was fun, but not a lot of contacts, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm watching our Discord at the same time. The link is down in the description. Just to change topic almost completely, because we talked about Hellschreiber, and I don't know. Some of you guys know your old computers. I know you probably do. The ZX Spectrum. If anyone's got one of those, you can now do Hellschreiber on your ZX Spectrum.
Nice.
Never tried one of those.
I had a Commodore 64 though, so I never went through that Spectrum age. But
can you use it for portable? The ZX Spectrum. Is it? Can you power it by the battery? I think the Commodore always had the problem that it needed the 9-volt AC for the timing circuit. I guess these days you can replace it with some crystal, so you don't really need the 9-volt AC. But by default, I guess the ZX Spectrum is a small machine. You could just put it in your backpack.
There's a YouTube video here. What happens if you run a ZX Spectrum on AA batteries?
Well, there's a YouTube video for everything, right?
Yeah. Doesn't mean it's possible.
I'm wondering if you get the DigiRig cables for the ZX Spectrum.
Yeah.
That'd be easy though, because well, you actually don't have. You only have audio input on the Spectrum, don't you?
Oh, audio output only.
No,
there's no input.
No,
on
you need both ways, because you need output to save to the cassette deck, and you need input to receive from. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got to be audio both ways.
True. Fun. Yeah, that's a project for another day. Yeah.
Yeah. Tim says, "Can you play Manic Miner and do FT8?" I think FT8 might be too hard on the Spectrum though. But that's one piece of good British engineering. So, but I see we're way past the hour mark, and I kind of figured that this would happen when I look back at last week's show, because I mean it's a lot of fun, but I think out of respect for the viewers, we should probably think a little bit about what we should talk about next week, except for radios, tuners, antennas, and probably
tuner placement. Tuner placement, end of radio or end of antenna. Yeah, that's fun show. Fun show.
That should attract a lot of viewers. Where to put the tuner?
That's a good idea though. It's resident or non-resident antennas, and talk about antennas in general. That's really what I like anyway. The best part of the hobby for me. Yeah, maybe we should get Tim to come on with us. He's the antenna guru. We talk to him.
Yeah, what do you say, Tim? You're in the chat. Would you like to join us next week? And I see he's got to leave, but I hope he heard this first. If not, I'll send Tim a message. See if we can get him on. And Williams actually got a suggestion here. The worst radios you've had.
Yeah.
I haven't. I've had a couple, but not really in the HF department. Only 2-meter radios. I had a couple of bad ones there. Tim will check with the station manager. So
there you go.
Well, we'll see if Tim will be here, and then we can talk antennas and tuners and nerd out about that.
There you go.
And as a final notice, though, Discord link down below. Let's do the usual round, though. We'll start in the opposite direction. Bob, what's going on in your blog or your YouTube channel? You actually got a YouTube channel now. So
I have a YouTube channel. I think I doubled in size since you mentioned it last time. I have 22 subscribers now, I think. But no, there's nothing on the YouTube channel. I will maybe post some short video or something, but not really interesting. I don't think I've written anything to the blog in quite a while. I've been too busy actually activating. But next week I'm planning on going to Øysteinnatten, which is a fairly tall mountain. I should maybe get some documentation from that trip. That's my plan for next week. I'll pass the word to Kjetil.
Yep, I'm working on 2 videos. Both of them are not directly radio related. One of them is about like one of those new power boxes you can get that gives you 230 volts. Like a inverter with a battery, and I've been testing that over the last few weeks. and found a few things I'm not very pleased about, but still it's a good thing to have. And one which is about food, how I eat and cook while hiking.
Cool.
Both are relevant for Poda and Soda, though. So it is
Yes.
radio adjacent.
Yeah, and one of them creates a lot of RF noise, apparently.
And I guess that's not the cooking.
Yeah.
And yeah, Walt, any videos coming up? Anything
Yeah,
happening?
I'm gonna totally use an American thing in this too. I have a 41-foot antenna, end-fed antenna out there, and I'm going to do a video on it. It's what really crazy when you see all these people with these magical mystery end-fed antennas that aren't an end-fed half wave that sell for like, and I'm sorry again, I'm going to use US dollars at like 100, 150, 179 US dollars. At the end of the day, they're a 41-foot wire with a 9-to-1 unknown on it. So I've got that right now that I built for the price of the unknown, and I've been using it. And the video will be out next couple of days. I've had some pretty good success with it. So yeah, so the video will be called the 41-foot end-fed antenna. So, yeah.
So what you're saying is that I kind of got scammed when my first antenna was a commercially made Rybakov?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But I think antennas is wire antennas is something that every ham can build themselves, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
usually,
But
if you use half decent screws or stainless steel, then they are probably as good as anything you can buy commercially.
Other than the
Yeah,
commercial antenna
exactly.
I have at home, the commercial antenna I have in my home's QTH. I don't have any other commercial antennas. I'm literally probably over 100 antennas now, all from wires, and none of them cost more than, I'll say this correctly, I don't think I've ever spent more than 50 euros on an antenna. You know what I mean? And whatever I use, those parts got used again in other antennas, other than the wire. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like, ununs, transformers,
And
coils, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I got one commercial antenna up, and that's a Hari Windham antenna, 80 through 10, I think. Although it works pretty well on 6, and that is actually a halfway decent antenna. I could have built that myself, but the build quality and the parts used is they're just so good, and it's a permanent antenna that's up between 2 trees in my yard, and I just wanted something that was really, really well built and could stay out for years.
You see how awesome antennas are? We went from everybody, what are you doing this week? We got right back to antennas. I'm sorry. I apologize. Anyway, that's all I got.
Looking forward to that video, Walt. Tobias, anything?
Yes, speaking antennas, I need to build an antenna for the 7-meter fiberglass mask for the 7-meter spider pole. So I was thinking either I go a simple 10-meter ground plane, or maybe do the build. I think Tim had a video about simple coax antenna. Just strip.
The T2LT.
Not sure, but it's basically a more or less a dipole with a choke at the bottom, just using coax cable, right?
Yeah. I got a video about that as well, and it's a great performer. Just using RJ58. I would recommend you to just solder a piece of wire to the center instead of stripping all the dielectric inside the coax cable.
Yes.
That'll save you a lot of work from personal experience.
But if I can make a suggestion, Tobias, for your antenna build, if you have a 7-meter pole, build a 15 meters vertical with elevated radials. 3 elevated radials. You can use the guy ropes for the radials. That's a fantastic antenna. If you model that, Tim's going to tell us next week probably. If you model that, it's got fantastic takeoff. And for 15 meters for the openings we've been having lately, that's going to be a very, very good antenna.
I cut 4 ground radial via 3-meter 52 already, so I think that's probably will be it. Yeah.
So So and then we're on to me. I'll be releasing a video on Tuesday about how to operate your radio while you're on a campsite, and how to mitigate the noise you got at a campsite if you can. Strangely enough, all those campers and RVs make a lot of noise. And then now I got to check that product placement box. I'm going to do a couple of videos on this HT, the Ailance HD1, and see if it's as good as people claim. And that's probably what's coming up on my week. And we're going to see if Tim's going to be around as well. Williams, just for the end of the show, T2LT on the top band. I don't have an 80-meter mast around here anywhere. It probably
You got
be
a drone.
Performer,
You
though.
have a drone? Just let the drone hold the wire.
Hang it upside down from a bridge.
Or
know
just go to Pulpit Rock. I've done that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know the thing about drones, when the software warns you that it's not the right weather conditions and there's freezing rain. You should take notice of those warnings. Drone propellers
but
don't
you-
really
you
like
could-
freezing rain.
You could be LB0FI stroke AM.
And actually, it's you're not
Antenna
allowed.
mobile. No.
You're not allowed to actually use your drone for cargo purposes in Norway. So you're not allowed to lift anything with it.
Without the proper license, of course. You can do
Yeah.
it with the proper ones. But we don't have those, do we?
No.
Well, there's a kite or a balloon then. That's the two remaining
There you go.
ways
Yeah,
of going
top-
forward.
That's a video right there. Top band kite antenna. You know, you can do that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I'll probably, even if I have time this week, I got a busy week ahead of me. But I might look into the 50-meter ground plane antenna as well there, Bob. So
Yeah.
I guess that's it for today. And for everyone who has joined our Discord, and it looks like a lot of people are on already, and that's awesome. There's room for more of you. Please join the Discord. We'll be back next Sunday, same time. If you're not subscribed to any of our channels around here, do that. Even Bob with his channel. And check out Bob's blog at lb5jj.no. I guess that's it for today.
Oh,
Thanks for watching.
73.
See you next
73.
week.
See you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.